The last time I got mail this classy was also from Fable Stone Dice. You can see their logo up in the corner. That was in December of 2015 for the fulfillment of the original Bone Origins Dice Kickstarter. It likewise came in a very fancy black envelope with just those little touches, as you can see here. Presentation is incredibly important, particularly if you are starting a new business, and I have been nothing but impressed by Gary Butler and Fable Stone Dice. When you get a delivery from Fable Stone Dice, there are lots of these little touches, not just the black envelope, but they're individually sealed. And the seal you see here is the number 5, using the specific system, the bone system that these dice employ. Let's open things up and take a look at what I got. The original Kickstarter produced D6s in a wide variety of colors, including glow-in-the-dark. It started with the opaque bone dice and then moved into these various translucent color options with great role-playing game-inspired names. Now this one was producing polyhedrals, just 3 dice. It was recreating the D6 and also including a D8 and a D10. Now, because of the symbols which represent the numbers on the dice, it wasn't possible to do a full set of polyhedrals, but these 3 dice can replace. There's a method for using just those 3 dice to replace a full 7 dice standard set. Now, you'll notice I've ordered blue dice, and they are a choking hazard if you're 3 years old, so stay away from my dice if you're that age. Now, I wouldn't normally order blue dice. I have from time to time. But, the color I was looking forward to most was the charred smoke. But at the time that the Kickstarter closed, it wasn't available. Now, I could have opted for it later. The project manager, when they checked out the finances, realized that they could offer the charred smoke, and they did. But once I had decided to go for the Nightmare Blue, I stuck to my guns, and I'm pretty glad I did. They stand out, and they expand my lineup of these dice. I'll show you everything all together later on in the video. Okay, so this is the D10. Now the symbol on top there, that's the 2. This is the 3. You see how a dot represents 1, and the bone shape represents 2. So that combination gives us all our numbers. This is 4. Off to the side there, you can see 10. This is 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Oh, that's pretty cool. Looks like a claw to me. So the D10, and then the D6s, nothing has changed about their design since the last Kickstarter. Those of you with an eye for detail will note how well painted the pips, let's call them pips, are. They were all gone through by hand before shipping out to backers, which I find to be reassuring and really what my expectation for a business is. So now we can get a good look all the way through. Each die is unique. They all have their own distinct swirls of material, and the challenge is to get them equally uniquely swirled. All right, so the bone mist for the D8s, they're quite packed. It's almost like they're not translucent at all. You can see it mostly around the edges, and this D8 is a little bit lighter than the other, and this D10, you can see a lot of swirling going on. Now the polyhedral shape has that effect. When I pair them up with the D6s, we'll see how well they match, because they came from 2 different manufacturers, which is another challenge that dice producers have to put up with. Now what you're looking at here is the thank you card that came with it. It includes my choking warning, which I pointed out earlier, and it's just a heartfelt note saying thank you very much. I like that touch. It's important. Now, also on this card is the link to all the instructions you need for using the dice, interpreting the symbols and producing the combinations which allow you to replace all the other polyhedrals. So here are all the dice together. This is the new set, the polyhedrals and the Nightmare Blue. And the other pile are the original dice that I got, the bone mist, and the charred smoke. Let's separate everything out one more time. Okay. So 2 D8s and 1 D10 in bone mist. And 2 D8s and 1 D10 in Nightmare Blue, and then 6 D6 in the Nightmare Blue. The original Kickstarter, I got 10 of each. Here are the bone, and they're primarily yellow, but they have some whitish inclusion, like a weathered bone. It's quite nice, kind of a traditional look to them. Here are the original Bone Mist D6s. Now, let's see how well the colors match up. Now, right in this shot, more in the camera than by the naked eye, that 1 D8 is really standing out. But the D10, it fits right in. It seems to be exactly the same color and the exact same sort of distribution of the swirling material. Yeah. Let's take a look at that D8 from a different angle, different light. So it definitely has a whiter look to it. But is it just because I've noticed it, or is it because it's really, really different? Well, there you go. Now everything looks the same. So that one side of it has a higher inclusion of mist than the other side. Not bad, considering two manufacturers. Now, the first Kickstarter back in 2015 was excellently handled. Communication was consistent, and when production hit a snag, the backers were the first to know, and delivery was pretty close to the mark. Not bad, considering this is the manufacturing of a completely new style of dice. Likewise, this project was handled with the same care and concern for the backers. Now, all around the world, people are receiving their dice. I'm on the later end because I live on the opposite side of the world as where production was done. But really, considering the challenges, including changing manufacturer when the original manufacturer proved to be, let's say, unreliable, this has been a pretty slick project. The dice you're looking at now are the Charred Smoke from the original Kickstarter, and from this point of view, under these lighting conditions, they pretty much look opaque. If you want to see how translucent they are, you can look at the original video, which is linked up in the top right corner. Now that the Kickstarter is complete and distribution has been handled for all of the backers, the next step for Fable Stone Dice is to set up their own web store, and you can pretty much guarantee that I'll be getting the Polyhedrals in the Charred Smoke just to round out the collection that I have here. There's a wide variety of colors. Not sure that I'll expand into any of the others, but you might be interested. As the Kickstarter was running, I was really hoping we would reach the Deathly Amber, but we didn't. However, we did ultimately get the Charred Smoke, which is good. Another thing that took place during the Kickstarter was a survey for this, a Bone Origins D20, and that will be a future Kickstarter project. How do they work to replace other polyhedrals? Well, the D8 you cut in half, and you've got a D4. The D6 is a D6, the D8 is a D8, and the D10 is a D10. For the D12, you need to take your D6 and roll it with a D8. If the D8 shows a dot, like a 1 or a 3 or a 5 or a 7, then you add 6. The same method applies for the D20, rolling the D8 and the D10 together. If a dot shows up, add 10. So, here are all of my Bone Origins dice all collected together. You see them arrayed from the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen from 1 to 6 for the D6s. And I've just done this to show the consistency and to give you a better sense of how you would actually read the dice in play. And here are the new dice, the Polyhedral dice. Going from left to right and from white to blue, we have the D8 showing a 1 and a 7. We have a D8 showing an 8 and a 3. We have a D10 showing the 10 and the 9. So, Bone Origins Dice, second excellent Kickstarter project from a two-time creator who has both times knocked it out of the park.